We will start clockwise, so that means JD, you go first. Not that JD, but this JD.
Okay.
And it's going to be a rough show. We got 2 Charlies and 2 JDs, so it's going to be rough.
Oh man, Joey, maybe I should change my name.
I'm just glad that there's not another Jose, because everywhere I go, there's one.
Hello.
Hello. Right up there, buddy.
That's
Right
what
up
the
there.
J
The guy
stands
with
for
the
my
name.
name.
He's a Jose. He's a Jose.
See, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So you got the trifecta, JD.
Yep. There you go.
Anyway, so yes, the way this show works is that JD or you or whoever will present your issues that you may be having, and then we will go around, ask clarification questions, and once the question side of things is over, we will then kind of go into the advice or answer section. So please refrain from jumping into the answers right away. JD, I'm looking at you, sir.
That's my job.
We're on episode 20, and still. Though I catch myself doing it too, so it's a thing.
The fact that it's episode 20, I'm amazed because I don't keep track. I just do these things.
Fair. Well, I mean, since you've been doing it so long with your other one, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything you do.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
This show is still sort of in its infancy.
Okay. True.
All right. So JD, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the question I have is, how do you maintain relevancy and awareness of your brand when you're not soliciting a new release?
Okay. So does anyone have any questions for JD to kind of clarify anything? I know it's pretty straightforward, but I'm sure there's some things that we can ask him before we get into any things that he might have already done.
One quick question. Do you mean Unstoppable Comics as a brand, or you personally as a brand?
The whole kit and caboodle. How do you keep yourself, your product within the awareness of those out there in the community, right? How do you Dick Clark it, for lack of a better phrase, right? How do you go and do the $10,000 pyramid on a daily basis just so you could be in everybody's living rooms, right? So you can maintain who Dick Clark is, so people can recognize that, right? I mean, as writers, we're in the hole sometimes, right? We don't
sometimes.
We're in there. We're knee deep, and it's not like you can post a picture of the script, your first, second, or third draft, or the outline, and think that's going to generate any social currency.
Well,
So
I do have a couple of questions. I mean, look, and these are things I'm asking you that I, of course, have deficiencies in, because these are things that I think about but I don't execute on. So the question is do you have a marketing schedule for yourself worked out before you start your campaign? Meaning, do you sit down and you say, okay, at noon, I'm going to post here. At 2 p.m., I'm going to post here. At 3 p.m., I'm going to post here. You understand? Are you laying that out for yourself? Are you also laying out your posts in advance? Right?
Okay. I'm sorry. Do you have more, or should I shoot?
And you know me, I can keep talking for days, so you just might as well go for it.
No, like Sunday mornings, I do try to schedule the images and stuff like that I'm going to post, right? But I'm lucky if I get 2 hours a day to work on everything from A to Z, and that includes putting the fires out. So trying to schedule even the posts sometimes gets superseded by whatever fire I got to put out that day.
Okay.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? Joey, you got anything?
Yeah. So how are you? What I'm hearing is you're asking a question about retention, right? So what are you doing? When the campaigns are over, to keep those people interested.
When the campaigns are over, well, I'm still maintaining, that back and forth when it comes to the updates. I'm letting them know about stuff like that. I'm updating the website on at least a weekly basis. And whenever I'm doing a podcast, a stream, or whatever, I'm trying to direct people to the website more than anything else. Other than that, I mean, I try to do the Substack thing, but it's one more thing on the plate that I really don't have time to continue to maintain.
Okay. Charlie, Mac, since you already asked.
Yeah, I think the guys have already asked pretty much the thoughts I was having. And I guess, kind of going to Joey's question though, and expanding it a little further, like, what are you doing? And maybe this is your question in reverse, but what are you doing between campaigns when the campaign ends and before the next one begins to your non-backers, and for your non-backers, your followers on your various social media and stuff like that, and emailing? I'm assuming you have a mailing list, but actually you do, because I'm on it. But what are you doing between, right? So it's because I know, like, people are. It's like the old Eddie Murphy gag, right? What have you done for me lately, right? And or you can go to the Janet Jackson song. I don't care. Either one is an old reference, but what have you done for me lately is literally what you're. What's that?
Don't make me sing, Janet.
But literally, that's the question of social media, right? Is what have you done for me lately? And both algorithms and people start falling off of your threads when you're not actively engaging. So what are you doing between those?
That's the thing, dude. As a one-man show, right? When I'm not in release mode, I'm trying to get as much done as possible, so that way when I am in release mode, I can focus on that release and just have all those ducks that were lined up in a row, dropping, boom, 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 boom. And then once that release is done, it's going into fulfillment and getting as much work as I can done. Mm-hmm. So that way, when I go into the next release mode, I can just focus 100% on that release. But in that interim, right, in that void, it's just.
Okay. How much of a lunch break? Do you get a lunch break at work? No, you're not at all. You don't get any breaks at work. Not
so
even
here's what I do. At the day job is as a mailman, right? 23 years for the United States Post Office. I get to the station 2 hours early.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
He hasn't gone postal yet, folks.
I've seen this show enough. He has. So
yeah, brother. Sometimes, but I'll get to the station like 2 hours early instead of going to the gym like I should. I pull out the laptop and it's editing, it's script work, right? Because that's the one time that I'm 100% not affected by social media, and in the morning my brain is activated, so I can dedicate 100% to this draft, that draft, this outline. That's all writing time for me.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions before we get into the answers?
Just one last one. I mean, when you're talking about keeping people engaged, do you mean your current backers, or do you mean trying to find a new audience? I mean, is this Kickstarter specific, or is this general branding for you?
So maybe it is Kickstarter specific, right? Trying to find new people to come to the table, because I have a really good return backer rate, right? It's just not up there. I'm not in the, in the mid 300 to 400s. I'm not, right? I'm the 200 guy. I want to break through that. Like I said, I get good engagement, I get return backers, but trying to expose it in that void period is the difficult part, trying to get new engagement.
Okay. I think everybody good? Are we ready to go into the answers then?
I think we're ready.
Okay. Charlie, go at McElvy. This is going to be tough.
I think, Charlie, didn't we decide that I'm other Charlie and you're like original Charlie? Isn't that how that was on Twitter? I can't remember.
Charlie 1 and Charlie 2?
I think I was old Charlie.
I think we're close to the same age, so I think that can't be that true.
We're gonna have to go back to like we're in high school, like your English teacher, Stickney.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Marine Corps. Everybody gets their last name.
Oh yeah, I'm a last name guy. Yeah.
Unfortunately, everybody butchered mine, so it was just like it was whatever.
But Multari is so much like Atari.
But that's just it.
exactly
Multari
what's
is
in my head.
wrong. That's not how you pronounce it.
Oh, how do you pronounce it?
Multari.
Oh.
I swear to God, we didn't script that. Like, wow.
We all had it wrong.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody's had it wrong. I mean, I think it's all started back when I started going on Tyler James's podcast.
Oh my God!
And now when the five of us say it right, everybody's gonna say we're wrong.
Right.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I even had people
we
just
know we
say
got it right.
Multar. Like that, like from Space Ghost, they just were gonna be like, "Hey, Multar."
Oh.
I just want to throw this out there. If all of us thought it was the other way, wouldn't it just be easier for you to change it?
But that's why I never say. Honestly, that's why. And up until now, I've never said anything because what's the point? But it just opened it up right there for me to blow.
That's a good marketing tag because right now Rob Mack is changing his last name, so you can use that whole thing.
So like when all of us see you at a con, we're just gonna yell out Multari. Like you're gonna have to.
Then
turn
I'll be
around
like,
and people-
yes,
Yeah.
you'll get it. This guy.
We'll help you out, brother. We got you. You know, if you're gonna be stubborn enough not to change your name, we'll at least be helpful enough to. I mean, shit, make us do all the work, but whatever.
You speak for yourself.
Oh gosh.
I just want to answer this question real quick from Chad. He paid me.
Damn right I
There you
did.
go.
Damn right I did.
I actually took a note while you were talking on because I write because I'm old school, like with a pen. Something I was thinking about is you had asked the question, and Charlie, of course, pointed out that you're probably talking about Kickstarter in general, right? But contextually, what you're really talking about is branding.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was noting as you were talking about like the things you do between campaigns, you were talking about like I'm busy getting stuff done, I'm ordering this, and I'm fulfilling that, and I'm packing this up and doing these things, dude. All of that is content, right? If you really think about it, that is all content. That what you can do is take pictures of the boxes as they're being loaded up, even if you're like, right, and then of course the stacks of books that you'll load into your car and crap like that, or handing it over to your favorite postal person that's not you, right?
I hate them all.
And well, I mean, there's that. But every bit of that, to me, every strip of tape is content, right? And you take pictures and you start snapping that, and you can drop it not only in your backer updates, but you can go back to your previous campaigns and just start dropping it there. And then, of course, on your social media, you can go, hey, look, I got another stash of books going out the door for this campaign. By the way, here's a link for my next campaign. Or here's a link to my store, or just follow me some freaking where. To me, that's like there's so much value in that, and I think it's undervalued for a lot of creators because we're hustling all the time, and our first thought is let's get this crap out the door. But and Tyler, what's his good grief? I think it was yes. We were talking. We talk about marketing all the time, and like one of the things is we underrate the value of just being out in front of people constantly. So even if you're just telling them what you're doing, a quick post about, hey, 20 more packages out the door, great. Hey, look, I'm boxing up this number such and such, great. Those kinds of things keep people engaged, and they see. The other thing that's eroded quite a bit in the last 4 or 5 years in Kickstarter, we've all seen it, is lack of fulfillment, and trust has eroded. So. That's the other thing you're building too, is you're building now a trusted brand by posting these things and showing that stuff's going out the door. I just wrapped up fulfillment on, most of the fulfillment on Vito Del Sante's Stray, which is almost 2 years overdue. Shit happens. Like, I get it. So I picked up the responsibility of doing that for him in exchange for publishing the rest of his books for him. And that builds more trust. Some people are going to still stay away, right? And that's just going to happen. I get it. Fool me once. But now that I'm fulfilling it, people know I've got a track record of fulfillment, and it's added to my brand, but it also starts rebuilding Vito's brand too. And I think there's benefit to that. So, just I think that's really important.
Okay.
And we have easy access to this thing that's attached to us at the hip to
Yeah.
just snap that picture and hurry up and post something.
2 minutes. No.
Okay.
Joey, do you have anything for him?
Yeah. So, this is actually kind of funny because this is something that I've been researching myself lately, learning how to, keep backer retention, and then also tap into, like what Charlie was saying, new people, and creating this kind of brand awareness around not only my IP but myself and everything that we're doing, right? So everything that we want people to kind of at eventually come back around, right, to make a sell, because that's what we're doing. We're trying to tap into this sales funnel, right, by creating these different things, and once we get to that point, things will start to kind of pop off. And I've kind of done a lot of research in this last week. Everything, like, listen, there's ways out there to get stuff for free, like up until a point, but like all the really, really, really good stuff is behind a paywall. Like you guys were talking about Tyler James, he's got a really great offering. We have a buddy, Russell Nolte, who also does some of these things that have really great offerings as well. And if you can afford some of the things that like that, to go and learn and kind of hear from professionals who actually put this stuff into work and have proof, social proof and marketing proof to kind of when they implemented these things. It's really good to kind of learn those things because they work, right? Marketing, there's things in marketing that have always worked, and they're always going to work because ultimately it comes down to psychological pricing and things of that nature, and it gets really, really deep into stuff like that. So just kind of do some research and look around. There's a lot of really great stuff that's for free out there that you can research and learn just the basics to kind of just elevate your pages and your branding just a little bit.
Stickney. We're gonna get this down somehow.
That's all right. We can also go with Tall Charlie and not as Tall Charlie.
But you only know that if you've seen each other, like, I mean,
No,
I know
you can just see from these squares. One of the things I would say is, like, there's a few different things going on here, and there's a difference between backer retention and bringing in new people, and selling the brand of your books and selling your own personal brand. And I think, like, you need to know what you're focusing on. I think you need to know what the brand of all those different things is. When you're doing the brand of Jay, what is that brand that you're trying to put out there? I think Tall Charlie has a really good social media presence that's consistent, and there's a tone to it, and there's a voice, and you feel like you know him. In the same way that I've always tried to be very polite and informative in the things that I do. And in real life, I'm a complete a-hole, but like, that's not the brand I'm putting out there. When I'm focusing it. So, like, I think when you say that you have a core group that keeps coming back for each book, right? That's great, because that means the books are doing the job of retaining the audience. Mm-hmm. People want to keep reading what you're writing. So, like, I think, like, that's almost a box you can check. It's not as much about retention, it's about audience growth. And then how are you trying to grow, your audience? And I think there are actually, the in-between time with campaigns is a harder time to grow your audience than growing your audience during campaigns. Because when you're doing the campaign, you have all these tools to bring in new people that you don't necessarily have during the campaign, right? Did you bring in a variant cover artist who has their own audience that you've never worked with before? Yes. And hopefully, like, that brings some people in. What kind of crossovers are you doing with other creators? So, like, there are active things that you can do during the campaign. I think for me, a lot of what I do in between the campaign is I grow my own personal brand. And there's lots of places to do that. Social media is becoming harder. I spend a lot of time, Charlie was saying backstage that he hasn't seen me as much because I've been less on social media. I've been more in private groups. I've been doing more workshopping events. I was at Comic Pro, and I was not with a publisher. I was myself. I was, going back to what you're talking about, just being present and being visible. All the retailers saw me. All the publishers saw me. I was seen as a person who was there. And, just like being in these events, being at some of the big conventions where you're networking with people, with other creators, that's another way. So I think it's just finding different places, because if the current places that you're posting are not having the kind of engagement that you're looking for, it's also thinking about the other places you can go. And that's places that you can expand your audience, find new people who know who you are. I think when you do panels at conventions, that's always a great thing. When I do a panel at a convention and I'm with established creators who do big 2 IP, and we're sitting on a panel and people are like, oh, so you raised X number of dollars doing what? And it's like there's this eye-opening look from, oh, this is another way of doing comics. And this person also is a professional. And maybe I should start looking at their stuff. And so I find new people there as well. So I think it's, you want to do the things that you're doing well. You're retaining your audience. Your books are doing your job. It's about thinking about other places you can be and finding ways to expand what you're doing, and maybe be targeted in those other places. Try to think about who would like your books, whether you're doing signings at comic book shops. If there's local comic book shops, that's another great place to network. So.
Okay. Cool.
JD as in Calderon.
I don't have any advice for that guy. I don't like him, right?
You
I don't even know I invited him on the damn show. Why did I let him on?
Listen, fellas.
No.
I'm in between here. I know fighting.
No. Jay, in all seriousness, it goes back to the question I asked. I think one of the things, and look, I struggle with this too, is something I think about and I don't execute on, right, is prepping, right? Twitter, Facebook posts long before the campaign, right? Like getting these things prepped up, ready to go before the campaign. So if I know I'm going to run a 24-day campaign, I should have 24 or at least 12 posts for each platform, ready. And that's probably nowhere near enough. It should probably double or triple that amount, right? I should be doing it twice a day on each platform. I could probably reuse the same post on each platform. And then even on top of that, trying to incorporate a brand new platform that I normally don't associate myself with, like something like Reddit or Blue Sky.
Discord's another one that's growing.
Discord. What's the other one? Truth Social? What is it? What was that?
Sorry.
I don't even know what that.
Bro, you got to be in Florida for that. It's
Okay, I guess. But yeah, I think and like I said, it's one of those things I struggle with as well. But I think that might be something that if you're going to want to have that growth, whether it be in between the campaigns, like Charlie was saying, and during the campaigns, I think that's maybe something you might have to give a little bit more time to, even though I know it's hard. I know we're all pressed for time because, working the day job it is what it is. Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Looking at Travis's comment there.
And you know what? It actually went through my head. I said Travis is going to have something to say. And lo and behold, he appears.
I'll just say that's a lot of hate going Jay's way, right? First, JD says he doesn't like him. Now Travis says he doesn't like him. There's all kinds of people in Florida.
Charlie, I'm a lightning rod, brother. I'm a lightning
That's okay.
rod. I take it all, baby.
Oh man. I think too, some things little things that you can do. For example, look at a lot of us who look at our names, right? You're the only one who doesn't have an @ or a .com.
Well,
Ah,
Charlie is his own .com.
okay.
But it's a good point, though. I don't think it's not a good. It's a good point.
But I like honestly, like, for that's something small you can do is, you put your your website, especially what you're promoting at the time, right? So like right now underneath mine, I have snowpaw.lonewolfcomics, right? That's going to what I'm currently promoting, which is the pre-launch page for Snowpaw. And, I pretty much all of my socials are at Lone Wolf Comics. So you don't even have to like ask. I have those. That's something you can do in the off season. I put up a banner to sign up for my email list, and then that puts them into a welcome bucket. They get like 10 emails that are already pre-written, pre-programmed, and ready to go when they sign up, and they get a free digital download. So that's something that I mean, it's work up front, but it's evergreen as long as you don't make it's anything that's like going to be like dated, right? So you want to make sure that it's not something that's going to kind of expire and you have to go back and update it the next year. That's a nice, easy way for like new people to jump on board, and you don't have to feed them anything. They're already getting fed, while you can then maintain your current list. I'm also on your email list, but you know what I don't see?
What's up?
A lot of emails in the off season is what,
Right.
I see you during the campaigns, right? Sending stuff out, right? I see you sending the stuff, which you've established. But, like everybody said, you don't want to be that guy coming, what have you done for me lately? Don't be that guy coming, hey, I need you to help me move when I didn't help you move. You haven't seen me since the last time I moved,
Right.
So you want to be there, like, even if it's like once a month, once every 2 weeks is probably better. As far as like posting, like Charlie was saying, the whole, like all that content, you don't have to have huge emails. You just have to have maybe 1 or 2 updates. Like, to say, hey, this is the current art that's happening right now. You got the first peep of this. And here's my fulfillment update. All in one. Boom, right there. You're already writing that. Just reuse your updates that you're doing in your, your post-campaign updates, right? You just throw that in an email saying, hey, currently working on this. This is the latest art. Check it out. You can then follow me over here. Check this out. That doesn't take much, right? And a lot of that's templated. You could just, all you got to do is reuse that, update that.
Right.
So you basically have that at your whim. Boom, schedule that out for next week. Posts, again, same thing. You can use the same stuff you're putting in your emails in your posts, because not everybody is looking at everything at the same time. Or, if you hit your spam box with your emails, well, social media there, that's another thing, and even you don't have to like schedule it. Even if you have like 2 seconds, like I know you say you don't get breaks, but I mean, I'm sure you have a minute that you're like taking a breather when you're done looking at something. You can hurry up and throw up a quick 5 seconds. If not, I mean, that's fine too. But in between, while you're sitting, in that traffic, when you're at a standstill.
Well, dude, that's I optimize that time. When I'm in traffic, if I'm not hollering at Calderon, right? It's Siri, take a note, right? And it's like whatever's popping in my head, blah 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 blah. And the next morning, I do my best to consolidate, because I'm still a husband, right? I still there's still family time. So that's why I say, when we get home at the end of the day, I'm lucky if I get 2 hours at the end of the night to put actual work.
Oh, believe me, I get it. I mean, there's times where I'd be at like baseball games, or and in between innings, hurrying up, and they got to post before something happens.
Oh, okay.
Like I get that, man. You just, it's like you just got to take any second you can. But again, but you do that during the campaign, right? And I know you say you do all the back end work to try and get all that stuff ready before the campaign, and then you do it. As JD said, maybe kind of spread that out a little bit. You got to like. People know now, like you said, the people who are coming back are coming back. So who are you marketing to then if they're already coming back, right? You need to do that pre-populace beforehand. build that up with the new folk.
All right. So Jay, hopefully that helped a little.
Yeah, look, hey, look, I like everybody else taking notes, baby. I'm here, I'm taking notes. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
It's the 50-year-old in us.
Mhm. All right.
or maybe he is the villain.
Dude, and the mice in New York are not I mean,
The
they're not
mice in New
heroic.
York are rats.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Come on.
I only write about one mouse in New York, so there you go.
I would also say that any of us who are in the 50 range probably know that there were two very diabolical mice trying to take over the world every single day.
Mhm.
So you can't trust those mice.
Yes, you cannot.
There you
That's
go.
correct.
It's not, Brian.
Norv. All right.
Oh man.
Oh, that cartoon got away with so much.
It was
The
awesome.
Animaniacs. Oh my god.
It was
I mean,
awesome.
still, the fingerprints one has got to be like the all-time, like, wow, that skirted the line.
Well, that and Ren and Stimpy really got away with a lot of things too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Before we go too far down the rabbit hole,
And we start talking about Fritz the cat. I'm sorry. go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Before Ren and Stimpy, the guy was doing the Mighty Mouse remake, and that was
Yeah.
that was sketchy also.
Mm.
I forgot about that.
He only stepped Cook once.
It
Only
was the 80s.
It's only one.
you weren't alive in the 80s if you did.
They did do at least one line. You weren't alive.
Okay. Oh, Charlie McElvy, please help us. What is your issue, sir?
Yeah, my issues. I got a lot of
I
issues.
mean, we all have issues.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you? We're comic creators, so I mean, good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question was, it's funny. It's kind of the inverse of JD's. I see a lot of Carl is a great example. Carl Kiesel, love the guy, by the way. What a beautiful man. Carl is a frequent updater, and I know because I backed like literally every imp campaign he's ever put out, Impossible Jones, and I know it factors into the algorithms to some extent on Kickstarter, whether you get the staff picks and all this other stuff. But I've always been hesitant to post too much, and so I guess my question really comes down to what is a good balance of frequency. So Carl, I see probably every 2 to 3 days I get some kind of update as a backer. And again, is that too frequent? Is that right on point? I don't know. I prefer to do weekly on my back. Like every Friday, every campaign that I'm either supporting, backing, or fulfilling, I'm like, here's an update. Here's an update. Unless it's done, in which case they may get an update, and it may just be here's what's coming next, or here's what I'm doing on the other side. Like I was telling Jay, right? So, what is a good frequency for that? What makes the most sense? Just assume that I can do it as frequently as you say. So I'll work out the details on that. But what works? What's the best one to not irritate the hell out of everybody, but to keep them up to date and to continue to push the content?
So who has questions for Sir McElvy?
So when you're talking about, do you mean just specifically Kickstarter updates, or do you mean posts in other places?
Yeah, no, Kickstarter updates.
Okay. Then I will file that away for my reply.
He gets it. JD, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Rosario, do you have any questions?
Yeah. Why would you be concerned about posting too many updates?
To be totally honest, with a few exceptions, Carl being the one exception, is why I brought his name up. I just don't read most of them. I'm just like, okay, great. I don't care.
But you're a creator too. So that's
You're right, and I'm jaded, but a lot of my backers, well, not a lot, but I mean, a good percentage, probably 10% of my backers are creators as well, because there's a lot of reciprocity in the industry. I mean, it's just how we kind of work about. Not that anybody owes me anything, but there is a lot of reciprocity. I back a lot of books. I mean, hell, Charlie does. I think we're over 1,000 now, right? I think both of us are.
Wow.
Campaigns, and so it's just in the early days there was more of the reciprocity because but now we're just trying to tighten the belts a little bit. So
Can I ask a follow-up question?
yeah, please.
When you mean, again, going back to the upstate, are you talking about the campaign that's live?
Correct.
Or are you talking about, so you're not talking about going back and posting updates to all the other campaigns?
Correct. Yeah. But by the way, that's a great side point, because it does drive me a little crazy when I get 16 emails from it's the exact same copy. Whose phone's ringing?
Yeah, whose phone is that?
I get, I was clearing my inbox in Kickstarter today, and I can't believe I had literally 6 emails. They were all the exact same email from the same creator, but it was every single campaign, and they all came in at the same time. I do that, but I distribute it. Like, I'll do one day, I'll one another day, wait 2 days, do another one.
Yeah,
I don't mind the copy and paste.
Try to give here too.
With that,
that's advice we try to give here.
Yeah.
It's one that we try to give and sometimes ignore ourselves. I know.
Well, I don't think I've got it from you guys, but yeah. So it's for backers for the active campaign. It's specifically to finish answering this question.
Joe,
so how many updates on average are you putting out there per campaign?
So I will do. Sometimes they'll do the first day. Hey, great first day camp. Because I think it's a good practice. And then I'll do the first Friday. I usually launch on a Tuesday or Wednesday, because that seems to be prime time for Kickstarter launches. And then I'll do an update on Friday. And then the only time I do another non-weekly update is like funded, project we love, unlocked an add-on, which may be a stretch goal kind of a thing, if you want to think of it, or whatever. So unless something significant happens, if I'm going to a con, I might do an update to say, hey, come see me at this, whatever. So generally once a week. So you think about it, most backers are probably getting 6 to 7 total updates per campaign before the end, and then at the end I still do the weekly updates, letting them know funds are released, whatever, right? So up until it's completely fulfilled, then I kind of go dark. I leave them alone until the next campaign's ready to be released, in which case then I use that, as we were just talking about, for promotion of the next campaigns, even if it's not really a title.
Okay, I do have a question. Now, using the technique that you use, have you seen growth?
Yeah,
from
every campaign. Yeah, every campaign I had no fewer than 34. This campaign is actually the lowest right now, 34 new backers. So every campaign is somewhere between 30 and 60 new backers.
So you feel the strategy is working for you?
Seems to be. Now maybe a Kickstarter trickle that's kind of happening right now, or a slowdown that's happening that maybe this is impacting. But that was when you asked the question earlier. I was like, yeah, that's what I want to ask, because would more frequent updates, but what does that do? I guess that's my real question. What does it do for a backer?
I guess, well, I have some ideas for you, but I can't get into that yet. But I do have.
It's not answer time, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. So
Multari.
So I can't. Oh, I'm not telling you my middle name now. Everybody be like,
we'll just make it up. We'll get your last name.
I mean, it's really not hard to guess. I'm sure I've put it out there somewhere. Anyway, so my question for you is, during your campaign, besides like stretch goals, are you unlocking anything? Do you have like milestone freebies, or do you give away something like in the middle of the campaign to try and give like attention, like to the dead zone and all that fun biz?
Yeah, I have had, excuse me. I have had, wow. And I was reading Tyler's note. That was my fear exactly right there. If you want to nutshell it, right? So, Yes, I've done that. Like Russell had, he and I talked one time. You mentioned Russell earlier, and or somebody did, and
Merriment.
well, like Harry.
Pronounced Merrymont.
I feel that must be my Robin Hood name.
There you go.
my Sherwood Forest name.
I followed Russell. He made some suggestions, and he even threw a book at me. And said, "Hey, give away a week one backers thing. So if you back in the first week, you get all these digital. If you back in the second week, you get these digital. But if you back in the first week, you get 1 and 2, and then 3, and then 4, or whatever, however many weeks your campaign is." I tried that, and all it turned out to be for me is just more work. And I didn't see a whole ton of a direct return. And maybe I was doing it wrong. That's entirely possible. And I mean, you guys know me. But throwing a bunch of books at backers as a stretch goal at the end of the campaign seems to be a little bit. I mean, I get messages all the time like, "Holy crap! I got so many great books. This is awesome. Thank you very much, guys." And and look at all the digitals. And holy shit, a gig of digitals. Like, this is crazy. So that gets noticed, but the weekly thing never seemed to do anything. So I tried that. Again, I may have screwed it up, but
Okay. So, all right. Does anybody else have?
by the way, the chat guys didn't get the message. They're all providing answers right now. They should be asking questions, you a-holes. Like, come on.
It's fine. They can leave the answers there. That way they're immortalized whenever you go back and watch.
Except this guy.
I just wanted to re-show that.
Oh man. Somebody save us. So does anybody have any more questions, or shall we move on to our thoughts on the matter?
Let's move on.
Okay. Before Travis starts any more shit.
Before you get more middle names.
Love you, Travis. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with Stickney.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. First of all, I think Kickstarter over the last 6 or 7 years has changed in terms of the audience that's there and what the audience needs. I think 6 or 7 years ago, there were a lot of people who were just sort of dipping their toes in. And so they kind of needed to be reassured as the project was going on. Like, is this creator really legit? What's happening here? But now a lot of the backer pool, they do this, and they back a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. So, like, honestly, for me, it's the thank you email on day 1 or day 2 or whenever you fund. And then after that, it's if you have some content that's important to push. Are you doing a convention? Are you trying to drop a new cover or something to sell them something new that they hadn't picked up before? Aside from that, I don't do many posts because I don't want to bother them. They've already given me their money. I've been doing this for a long time, so they know what the deal is. And so when I post, it has to be with a specific purpose. The caveat I would say is if you are a new creator, if this is your first or second campaign, then one of the things that you're doing with these updates is you're building a rapport with your potential backer base so they get a sense of what your persona is. Because again, this is, you're creating a face for them, someone to invest in for the long term. And so that's a relationship you're building. But once you've built that relationship, I don't think you need to test it. And I love Carl too, but he's just very verbose in real life. And if he sends you an email, it's a long email. Right?
It is true. Yes.
So like, I think
he does love those long emails.
That's part of who he is. And so I think it works for him. And if you love his style and, and he's great with dialogue. So there's everything that's very snappy and very funny. And so they're usually a pleasure to read. Not all of us are that talented. And, so if you don't have a reason, you just shut up. Like that's kind of where I'm at, so I think, like, again, I'll do an extra post or two for this campaign I have currently because I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, and I want to share that experience with the backers because part and parcel of the campaign that I'm doing is it ties into San Diego, and I'll have different artists there, and I'll be able to share pictures and updates. but that's something very specific. If it's a normal campaign, it might be 3 updates during the course of the campaign. Hey, we funded, here's a new cover, or here's a new thing, and then, hey, we did it. That's
Very fair. Joey, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm honestly the same way. I tend to do less updates, and I literally only update as we have something brand new, like unlocks or something like that, and stretch goals. And then I use like my opt-in sites and email captures for that stuff, because they opt in to hear me talk about that stuff, right? Like I opted into Charlie McElvy's Substack, right? Because he does some really cool stuff, and if you got, and a lot of people have gotten really creative with their Substacks, and it's really fun to kind of read them, just like we were talking about Carl Kessel and how he loves those long emails. People really love to be creative on Substack, so I kind of tend to lean towards the long-winded things on the opt-in options, and then leave them alone during the campaign for the updates.
Okay.
Can I just add one more thing? Because
Yeah,
we're all
sure.
talking about Carl. We might as well say Carl has a campaign that's live right now for Even Steven. So if you like Carl and his work, I would back that. It's going to be incredible.
I'll second that, because you guys heard me. I back everything he does, and my wife is actually reading Impossible Jones 1 now, and I hear her giggling, and I love it. So she just it's a really good, fun book.
At least you can get your wife to read comics. I mean, mine's like.
Well, mine has to. She's my associate editor, so she reads everything. So.
My wife will read mine for editing purposes, but other than that, she's like, get that away from me.
No, she loved Kabuki. That was her big thing. So I got her to meet David last year, and she went crazy. But yeah, she loves Carl, by the way, another Carl fan. So Impossible Jones is really good. And even Steven spins right out of that. He's fantastic.
Rosario, do you have anything to add?
I don't know where to stand on this. I mean, I'm listening to the guys, right? I don't see a right or wrong answer on this.
I haven't seen too many 4s. I mean, I'm gonna play that card. But if you have anything, please jump in.
No, I'm listening here. I'm taking this all in. Seeing what can I apply to my stuff. Because I would post something every other day, right? I got a 3-week campaign, so that's 21 days. So I'm looking at like 10 or 11 posts, right? The opening, the closing, the updates, and yes, if I'm going to be at an event or what to look forward to. I do treat it like social more than I treat, Facebook or anything else, because these are the people that are buying my stuff. They're engaged. They want to. I think they want to hear from me, right? And these are the people I'm more willing to listen to than anybody else, because they're actually spending money on my product, right? As opposed to somebody else who hasn't invested any money in me at all. So I do try to open up engagement in the comment section in my updates. I don't know where to stand on this. I didn't know it was a bad thing, right? Because Rob, you said it earlier. If they don't see you on one thing, they're going to see you on something else, right? And Charlie, you mentioned it. Yes, there's the person who posts on all 40 of their previous campaigns, right? The same thing on the update when the new one's coming, right? I try to do my last 3, and once the campaign starts, then I'll go into the backer kit, so that way it's all consolidated and I get my stats and stuff like that. See, but I didn't know there was social taboos to posting on updates.
I don't know that we uncovered that there is either, but it seems like the consensus is keep it to a minimum.
I think it depends on the person. I've had people tell me I update too much. I've had people tell me I don't update enough.
Right.
You can't listen to honestly, you can't listen to everybody, because they're all going to have their own opinions on the matter. At that point, it's just you kind of have to make it worth more while than just throwing it out a random update, right? You can't just be like, "Oh, I didn't update today. I need to do one." You know, you need to make it more valuable to the people you have as captive audience, if you will, because then they will be like, "I'm not captive anymore. Bye," and drop their back. So yeah, you definitely have to do something to keep them, interested. Ryan Kroboth once said to me during my first successful campaign, that not only so I was like, I'm all, you see me, I'm always like, oh, I'm this close to this mile marker, or this, I'm like 10 backers away from here, and I'm this far away from this stretch goal, whatever, like I'm constantly like doing that on like the social.
And I don't see there's anything wrong with that.
No, not. But Ryan Kroboth did give me a very wise word of advice. You have backers who are already paying you, right? They're already, well, technically they haven't paid you yet, but they're already there supporting you, and they believe in this project. Give them something more to kind of, either like gamify something, or like to interact with, to get them commenting on that post, or like we've talked about, throwing something out there, an extra freebie or something that you're throwing out there just because they backed on this specific day. Like for me, like I use the full moon. I give a print just for backing before the day of the full moon. That's something that I post out there. I let them know, hey, you're already getting this because you're already a backer. That kind of stuff. Or like for me, I like to do the game of like, hey, which cover's your favorite? Comment below. People then blow that up, and then make sure you're replying to those. Like always want to reply to any comments that are on your campaigns. I'm not necessarily sure that helps the algorithm, but I kind of feel like it might. Stuff like that. Gamify something. Say if you're going live on a show, it helps. You could say, hey, I'm going live. If you want to watch it, throw out that link. One, to kind of help the person show that you're going to be on, but also like, that they're like, hey, I'm going to go watch this guy so I can see him in person to make sure I like him, those are nice updates that don't necessarily mean that they're like part of the campaign necessarily, but they're just niceties. Like Charlie said, showing pictures at San Diego, that's a great one. If you're at a Comic-Con and you're in the middle of a campaign, show people that people are actually buying these books that you're selling on Kickstarter, right? Pictures of people holding them up, that they just bought them.
You know who does that better than anybody I see on social media?
Who's that?
Paul Thayer, Project Neosis. That dude, every con. I mean, he did say full moon, Chad.
Wrong full moon.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't care where Paul is. That dude is taking pictures of fans and shoppers at his table, and he's constantly posting about that. So he does a great job with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same exact thing. I mean, if I'm at a con, you can see like every day, like I upload all those at the end of the day. They're useful. It shows that social proof. And, if you have people during a campaign who are like, because they can see their updates too. If they haven't backed you, as long as you don't have it locked as a, backer only, if you have it for everybody, they can go. Jesus Christ. But you know what I mean? Like, so people can see that too, that like, people are, liking the stuff enough that they're buying it in person. That's just, and if you do like live shows too, you can take clips of those and you can post that as well. Especially if it's on YouTube, you can do like the timestamp thing and you can specifically show them what you want. For example, I was on Dan Mendoza's show with him, and we were talking about his cover that he had done for me. And like there was something that he said that I thought was perfect for like my audience to hear. So I like cut specifically that snippet. The next day it went up in an update, say, hey, watch me on Dan Mendoza's show. Those are the kind of things that you can do, to just, like I said, make it more worth their while, give them something interesting. a reason to open. It's the same as your email, right? You want to give people reasons to read your email. And for the most part, as long as it's entertaining or it's useful or it's something like you got a brand new original piece of art that you're posting for the first time, throw that up there. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you can put, like Tyler James talks about pocket rewards, right? So you have people who are already kind of like in your pocket, pull out something for them. That's if you, let's say you need to get to, that extra, that like you're only this far away from a stretch goal and you're having trouble getting new people to jump in. Well, you do have, like I said, you have that captive audience who are interested already. Just don't push them away. You need to nurture it. Think of it that way. And then you'll get less people who drop off. Yeah, you might get one or two, but really if those are the guys who are if they're dropping off you because you sent out an update that's actually something that's good for them, then they weren't really there for you in the first place, or they're having money troubles. Like, like, oh crap, I have a car payment or something I forgot about. People don't drop necessarily because you update one time, every 2 to 3 days. You know what I mean? Like that's maybe if you're doing it every day with the 1,000 campaigns, that you've already put out. That's something like, I said, you need to spread that out, right? Like, can't just do it all at once and make it different. Like each campaign should have something slightly different if you're going to be doing those updates. Just things like that, make it worthwhile. Like don't just be just throwing out an update for update's sake. Right. And plus those cross promotion things that you do help as well. So like it gives you, yes, you don't want to throw out an update just to throw out a bunch of cross promotions, because then that might be a little too much. But if you have something worthwhile for them, again, you want to nurture it. You don't want to push.
All right. For myself, the only thing I have to add is, I find the topic very, very interesting because you hear stuff from advertising where it takes 7 views before a person even notices and clicks on a thing, right? And then we have, I've seen various campaigns where the people who are running these campaigns, they're taking out Facebook ads, right? And they're heavy into it, and you see the Facebook ad all the time, and then you click on it, and there's somewhere in the 30K range. You're like, oh, so is that much exposure needed? Can you afford that much exposure? Do you want that much exposure, right? These are various questions that we're all struggling with, right? So you're asking, are you, because I heard one guy, and the thing is being in the game long enough, we remember old information, right? Information that should be recycled out, right? Because there was one person who I remember saying, well, if you're posting 3 times a day or 4 times a day, you're probably posting 10 times too few, you're not posting enough. Right? I've heard that before. But to Charlie's point, sometimes posting less is more, right? Because sometimes I go that route as well. But sometimes, is over, can you really oversaturate, especially with the algorithms, the way they're working? Right? Because you know how it is. You post up on Facebook, how many people really see it? 10, 20 out of your 5,000 or 4,000 friends, right? So, that's the big question. And then if you're working your lists, your mailing lists, these are people who are already, as Rob was saying, are in your pocket, right? So they probably do want to hear from you, but, they do want to hear maybe something a little bit more substantive every time. They don't want to just see the same thing over and over again. But yeah, like I said, I find the subject fascinating because, where can we go with this, right? Because like I said, one person says, hey, listen, you post 20 times a day, you're probably posting, not enough. You post 4 times a campaign or 5 times a campaign, that might be too much. So it's like you just got to find that balance that really works for you and your fan base, right? I think that's the part, is finding that sweet spot. That's the hard part that I think all of us struggle with, and those people who have found that sweet spot, good for them, I don't know if that helped any, Charlie.
Oh, it did. Yeah, no, it's good. It's great to hear from others, and obviously the struggle's real.
Well, I'll just sort of hit the advertising thing briefly because I think that's also a bigger topic. I think advertising for Kickstarter single issue books is something that most people should stay away from, paying for advertising with a lot of the big advertising companies, because your ROI in terms of what comes in, it's not going to be good enough, because the cost that you're having to bring in someone to back, unless you're looking to buy backers for long term. But if you have a high pledge tier, say you're doing a high-end hardcover, like when you see the campaign that, say, Skybound does, or when someone's doing the big G.I. Joe graphic novels where the base pledge is probably going to be $75, that's a place where the ROI really makes sense, because you know, like if you get 1 out of 10 backers, you're paying for all those 10 backers with that $175 pledge. So just be careful doing the advertising. Like I did it on one campaign, and in full disclosure, I basically made back what I spent on advertising. I spent about $5,000, and I brought in $5,000 worth of pledges. So
That's better than most. I never even got that.
You get what you put in.
Yeah, true enough.
But Charlie, did that help you?
Yes, no, very much so. Thank you. And again, you know, and the comments help too, guys. I was just joking about, you know, but yeah, I think it confirmed for me like what I was thinking. At the same time, it gave me some more to chew on, so it's good. It's very helpful, actually. I never go in knowing I know everything, because I sure as shit don't.
It's a moving target. It always will be.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Joey, what do you got for us, sir?
Yeah, so I've got an interesting one here, because we were talking a little bit, and it's kind of everybody's kind of touched on something a little bit of kind of my question here, and I'm the first. This is my first book that I've created, and stuff that's out there, right? So I want to pick your guys' brains, because you guys are all veterans. You guys have done this, been around with the block for a while, and then. Because I was picking the brain of our friend JL Draco, right? And recently, a while back, they started this really cool campaign that was like this really awesome email drip campaign kind of thing they called it Dream Fuel, where they just do this they created this really cool campaign within itself just for the emails, and they have this really awesome landing page where you can opt in and all that stuff, and it kind of takes you through a funnel of automated emails, just like you were talking about, Rob, earlier, about, you know, when people, you know, go into your site and they trigger something and they go through this different funnel, and eventually you want them to come out of the other end with a purchase or whatever goal you're reaching towards, right? So I am looking to, that's kind of where I'm at, right? I'm at the beginning of that stage where I want to now you know, start building something like that for myself, for my branding, and for the IPs that we're going to go move forward here with. And so I needs a little bit of advice from some of you guys who already implemented some of those things, and may have, you know, learned some of these things from other, you know, creative pros who've implemented some of those as well.
Okay. Questions? Anyone like to go first?
So it was kind of a broad. Again, you're new. You're saying, you know, this is your first campaign, so it's obviously a broad swath you're trying to cover here. Is there anything specific about campaign
specifically
running?
Starting from the beginning, from like a email capture campaign to build up that you know, that space to, you know, that I don't have for around this IP, around this whole thing that we're doing.
Okay.
Maybe understanding the you know, the email capture campaign, and like between the pre-launch phase, and then retention, and then you know, keeping them there. I think with what I was talking with JL, how they do it is really cool. They gain these people, they have people opt in, and then it just takes them through all this really stuff. They have really cool freebies, And so he used like words like lead magnet. I'm like, dude, what the heck are you talking about? So I'm like, okay, dude. So it's like words like that and things of that nature. Like the things that I really want to hone in on are these marketing tools that really help with when it comes to sales funnels, and understanding a sales funnel through those automated captures.
Okay. Stickney, do you have anything to add or questions for Joey?
Just to clarify, you're looking for general email list building versus, that will hopefully help you down the road for campaigns that you launch in the future.
Yeah, yeah, because that's where I'm at. I'm looking for, because I this is the first time around. I don't have much of an email list for any of this stuff. So yeah, first things first, email capturing and getting people on board for this IP that we're doing, and keeping them intrigued. So I think that's the first step. I mean, I don't think we have nothing. We're just starting out with this thing.
Okay. Rosario.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm too out of touch with things because I don't know what a drip campaign is. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make fun of you, Joey. It's like, dude,
I didn't either. They use big words, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
I mean, I understand the sales funnel and stuff like that, but for me, I generate emails at conventions, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do. Calderon busts my balls all the time for this. I do offset printing. All right, where the cost per my books is like somewhere around 70 to 75 cents a unit, right? So I get somebody to sign up for the email, and I give them a free book. So it just costs me 75 cents to get the email, right? Where cost of acquisition for some people is $20 and above for an email. That's okay. I'll trade that 75 cents any day. Maybe I'm too old school. Maybe that's part of my problem with this whole marketing and newsletter and retention and awareness and keeping people engaged. Am I out of touch?
So that's your question. Are you out of touch?
Yeah. Because Joey, I'm listening to you, dude.
That's why I'm like, help me in touch.
I'm listening to you, brother. And it's like, I didn't understand half of the stuff you were saying, bro. I couldn't, again, I'm not trying to be rude. I didn't know how to engage with answering you, brother. You know what I mean? Because.
And that's the wall, that's a lot of the stuff. I'm like, how do I learn this stuff? How do I get,
fair? Okay.
It's a little daunting with all these crazy words and these things that you have to research. You're like, oh my gosh, I just wanted to make a comic book.
Mm-hmm. We all just wanted to make a comic book. You can't just make a comic book.
Right? Yeah. If I can just jump in real quick. Now, here's the thing, though.
I get questions.
I know, and this is not a question, but tangentially attached to what he's saying, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the topic, because this has something to do with what Jay just said. He said, when you hear those terms, right, whatever they may be, right, like it's like Jay said, there's a certain amount of word salad, and you put it out there for us, right, and whenever I hear those things, I expect to hear the words next, what are you trying to sell me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the person, whoever's telling you all these things, are trying to show you that they're intelligent, they're capable, and that they're doing it by showing you that you don't understand what they're saying. So they have something to teach you. Thusly, then they have something to sell you. Right? And typically I go running and screaming away from those people because they usually don't have anything, right? They typically just are selling you some kind of figment. When you really get deep into it, you're just like, what are you talking about, right?
JL in his defense.
But this has nothing to do with the question.
He's not selling Joey anything. He's telling him what he did.
No, I understand that. But the thing is we don't know who sold something to JL.
I know exactly who did.
Okay, well, that's fine. Right, that's fine. But somebody obviously sold him something, and that person might be passing it on to Joey, right?
And Rob.
So whatever the case may be. So look, but that has nothing to do with with your question. As far as like, And
he did suggest that I take the class. I was like, all right,
I've taken the class. All right, we're talking about Tyler.
Yes, we're all talking about.
Okay, we're all talking about Tyler. Okay,
Yes,
all right.
we're talking
So
about
look,
his launch.
okay, so that's the thing. Tyler's a good guy. I learned from the course. I've learned certain things from the course. I'm hard-headed, so I don't really follow it. But you know, he does. There is value to the course. You understand? So I won't speak against that. But typically, when I hear that stuff from other people that are not Tyler, I typically go running away screaming, because it's just like they're just usually used car salesmen trying to sell you something. You know, the 5th or 6th round of how do I print my book or whatever, and blah blah blah. And it's a lot of regurgitated information that you can find anywhere. You know, typically on shows like this, right, or other shows, right? But
what makes Tyler useful and good at it is that, one, he knows what he's talking about, and two, he's talking about comic books specifically, not
exactly
overarching marketing spiel.
Right,
Yeah,
because that's what I'm thinking when I hear that. I'm thinking, you know, you're getting some kind of marketing person that, you know, sells soda and not necessarily comic book, right? Because that's usually what I'm hearing, you know, when I hear that stuff.
Or in JD's case, beer.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, defend everything that Calderon is saying here, but as a New Yorker, we're automatically jaded against the hustle.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that why everybody's name has J and D in it? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, pretty much. See, but mine is actually JD. No, but it's like we're already primed for that guy in the corner to sell us something. So there's that chip on our shoulder, like, you know. So when you hear these programs, right? You guys have bought into them. I've never bought into them, right? Because the information is regurgitated. It's all over the place, right? I don't know.
Do you listen? Do you listen though to this regurgitation?
we do listen to the regurgitation. Yes. But again, you know, it's the New Yorker in me. It's like, you know, who's trying to sell me the tree in Brooklyn?
Right.
You know,
and we get it all the time.
And it's not trying to downplay the people that do that. It's that Calderon is already primed to be wary of that, you know.
Okay, you jaded sons of bees. Let's bring this back into the actual issue here. Okay,
all right.
I've heard from New York.
Apologies.
New Yorkers need to go back, you know,
but
Queens, the Bronx, or wherever y'all from.
Rob, come up, hang out for a little while, bro.
But Joey, I do have a question for you. So I mean, you know, so you're trying to learn about the funnel, how to get these things are like. What are you actively doing to generate names to go into your funnel to get on your mailing list? I mean, what are you doing actively? Are you? I mean, these are suggestions I've made in the past. Oh, okay.
No suggestions.
No suggestions. All right.
You asked the question.
Right. So I mean, what are you actively doing? Are you engaging on social? I can't.
Yeah,
you're engaging on social media.
Are you
engaging at comic book conventions? Are you engaging at your local LCS?
Yes, doing all of the above. Yes, okay. We actually are we have a table. I have a partner who owns a podcast network, and where we got a 20-foot table space, so it's like a 20 by 20 space, and like it's handicapped. I don't know, he's crazy. He spent a lot of money, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna create this little space where we have he's gonna build a stage, and we're gonna have people come and do interviews. We're gonna have cosplay things. We're gonna do like little cosplay game shows and have them, because we also have cosplayers who are part of the podcast network. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna have a lot of our books on the table as well, and then some of the things that we do for our business is we help people market some of this stuff on Kickstarter. We build out graphics and stuff like that, and so we have some of their books on the table as well to kind of, because it goes along with our business model where we help people, and the books that are on the table are some of the creators that we've helped, you know, market some of those things on Kickstarter, and now they're on the table. So we're using kind of that whole space to kind of bring people in that way, and we're going to use all the people there in that area to gain and gather some emails and stuff. And then he's a really great guy with marketing and businesses, and he owns a few businesses that he does all this kind of marketing things sets up all the emails, and he's got a whole team that does that for some of his other businesses. So we're going to try to implement some of those fun little funnel email things funny things that everybody was talking about a second ago, and create. So we want to create this fun little thing and not keep it weird and gross and not fun and engaging at all, because nobody likes those annoying emails that come through. You're just like, oh man, not another one. Then you finally unsubscribe, right? So we want it to be fun and not agitating. I don't know.
You want to nurture, not push.
Right.
All
There
right,
you
I do have some questions now. Can I ask or no?
Yes, if you have a question this time.
Okay, Joey, are you asking a question for just your book, or for
Yes,
the group book?
it's my book.
And when is it coming out?
It's live right now on Kickstarter.
It's live right now on Kickstarter. Okay.
Yep, and then we're going to be going into production as soon as it's over.
Okay, so this event that you're going to be at, is it going to be held during the time of your campaign? Well, your campaign is live?
No, it'll be after.
It'll
The
be
book
after.
will be on the table, though.
Okay. Is there
Will you have
anything
it-
I'm sorry?
Well, you have the digital.
We will have the digital, and then we'll have the physical on the table, and then we should hopefully have the second issue mapped out and on Kickstarter. Hopefully, already ready to go with a call to action.
So is this dude that you're working with doing a regularly scheduled podcast right now, or no?
Yes, he's got his own podcast. He also goes live every Friday on Instagram. He does all that stuff. I go live on YouTube every Sunday with my buddy Benjamin Morse, where we do Kickstarter crowdfunding roundtables.
Okay. And the other people that you're doing books for, they're already finished, or they've got campaigns going on right now?
I got a couple. I got one that's about to end here in about next 15 hours that I'm working with, and then there's a couple of them that are going to be going live very soon. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I got some answers there for later. Ooh, I can play that. I know how to play the game.
Yeah.
It
Now
took
you know how to
took
play
me a
the
second
game.
to get my sea legs. All right, let's go.
All right. I
Second
have a
gets the
question
square.
before we can move on, though.
Come on, Rob, make it quick.
Look. You guys jacked around for how long talking about New York jadedness?
Well, you know,
Look, and I could talk smack because my grandpa's from the Bronx.
there you go.
Anyway, so what are you using besides Substack, right? Because that's not going to give you any kind of funnel. You're not getting any welcome series out of that. That's more like you already have the people in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
What are you using as an email platform to build said welcome series?
So we have a HubSpot, but I have not been using it to my full advantage, right?
Okay.
And then so we have access there. Honestly, I'm literally starting fresh. Like this is the first thing that I'm going to be doing with this, so I don't have any other place right now. We are revamping the website so that we can have that be the space to do all that instead of going to all these third parties and because we want to do the same thing where we keep people on our page and not have them leave to another space to know about us. So I mean
Yeah. Okay. But does HubSpot have that capability to build these funnels?
yes, it should. Yeah, it's a CRM. Yeah, it's a CRM. It's got all the I mean, you gotta pay into it.
Well, even with MailChimp, you got to pay into.
You got to pay into all that stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, to use these funnels and to set them up properly, anymore you have to pay to play. There's no way of avoiding that. I think ConvertKit, or is it Kit now? I think is what it is. That might be also.
I heard of that one actually.
But like I said, if it doesn't, so I think now we're well past the questions, unless somebody had something else pop up. Okay. Rosario, since you were chomping at the bit, and I don't want you to forget what you had to say.
With everybody you got in the crew that you're promoting and stuff like that, can you guys put together like a small little sample guide that you can use as a digital promo to get emails and pitch that during these different podcast that you're at, right? So that way you can capture these emails. You're giving them for something for free, right? And since it's like a little sampler, nobody's giving away their whole, the whole cow. You know what I mean? Everybody's giving away a little taste, and you still get to retain the majority of the book, which is going to be in the sale. That's all I got right now.
It's a good idea.
Okay. Charlie Stickney. Are we
All right.
Chad, no, is this talking about the butt thing still? Oh, it does have something. Okay.
Damn it, Tyler. I was going to say something about that. You son of a motherless goat.
I'm sure he's used to being called that.
Yeah.
It's all right, Tyler. We love you.
So Joey, I'm going to go the other direction on this. I'll be honest. I've never really had a robust mailing list. I have a mailing list that I've built very slowly over the years. I think for the first 4 or 5, I didn't crack 300 people on my mailing list until about 6 months ago. When I just asked the Kickstarter people finally, hey, does anyone want to be on my mailing list? And then all of a sudden I had like 600 people were like, yes, please put us on your mailing list. Oh, you have a mailing list? Like it was like people actually wanted it. And I think there's sort of a little bit of a balance here, because like the thing about these mail funnels or whatever else, the drips and the this and the that, is you're getting like, and I see these things all the time and I get the concept behind it, but like the ROI, again, it's not great. Like you're getting people who don't know you, who aren't invested in you, to sign up. And you're hoping like out of these 100 people that, sign up, that 15% of them are going to stay. And out of those 15%, like 2 are going to buy things. And like, I see these people are like, I have 50,000 people on my mailing list, but I don't have more than 300 people back in my Kickstarter campaign. And I'm like, then what are you doing? So I think there's kind of a balance, when you're putting your mailing list first and foremost in terms of what you're trying to do. I think sometimes you have to build your brand before you build the mailing list to give people a reason to want to be on your mailing list, because then it's the content, like why am I signing up for this thing? Why will I remember it? Why will I stay on it? And why will I click through? When I send an email out to my, I actually have a free MailChimp because I have less people than they charge me. So like I don't pay for any of that. Like I get maybe 60 to 70% opens on my emails. So it's like everyone who is on my mailing list wants to be in it and they want to read the things. So, it's a balance. So I just think don't lose sight of like that, the forest for the trees, like know what you're doing with it and think about the amount of money you're spending and what you're going to get for a return. And, I don't know, like if you need that gigantic mailing list to launch Kickstarters. I think maybe your Kickstarters can help you build your mailing list. And I have to go, with Jay handing out the comics at the convention as a great way to build a mailing list, because those people have seen his books, they see what he does. And if they pick up his book, and they read it, they have a reason to stay on it. So I think it's just about thinking about why you want to do it. And then I'm sure there are great funnels for pulling in lots of random people, but I just don't know what the value is that early on. That's
Okay. McElvy.
Yeah, well, first off, I'll disagree with Rob a little bit. So like the Substack thing, if you want to use it for funnel building, as Tyler pulled out, you can actually edit your welcome message when you get new subscribers. And one thing you can actually do in there is drop a link to your store with a code for a free comic, right? So a free digital comic, or hell, if you want to give away a physical one, I don't care what you're giving away. But I think that, like for me, less is more. Like I definitely don't, like Charlie, I don't pay for any, I have no paid vehicles for funnel building. Everything is done through grassroots stuff, social media and stuff like that, I do when someone signs up to my Substack, I'll, my welcome letter will, you can get a free comic, you can do all kinds of other stuff, to help that out. I do think that thinking about the funnel, and totally agree with Charlie, don't lose the forest for the trees, is a value. Backer kit launch is one thing that once you've got a campaign or 2 or 3 under your belt, the value of backer kit launch skyrockets. Like, you want to talk about ROIs, it's ridiculous. So because it's
to an extent with that though, you have
just
to keep
launch, not the whole thing. But yeah.
Well, I mean, backer kit launch started out like a great tool. I still use it, but I also feel like it's lost its luster because it's using the same URL that everybody is using with this random creator name in front of it, and it's going.
You can edit all that. Yeah, I edit mine all the time.
Right, but my point is that it's still at BackerKit is in there. I feel like their emails are going to spam boxes more. Their fulfillment emails are going to spam boxes more. So that's something I wouldn't rely on as your main.
No, maybe not your main, but I'll disagree based on my analytics. But I think it is, and again, it's the only paid tool I use, and I get my money back on it every single time. So it's without a doubt one of those things. If you're going to pay for it, that's the one I would pay for. Not a big fan of BackerKit as a whole. I think it's kludgy and hard as shit to put together everything, and it takes forever, and it's not worth my time. Especially now that you have other things in Kickstarter. But back to the point is, that is another one that you consider. Doesn't have to be your lead horse, but always be thinking about what you can do to generate something. And Charlie said it well. Like, why should they give a crap? Is really what he's saying. You've got to give them a reason to say, who gives a crap? And give away a free book is absolutely why. I've done a number of times. I was at Baltimore last year, and some mom was looking at one of our all ages books for her kid, and they were looking at the $10 one. It was a deluxe edition. It's like, it's 48 pages. It's an expensive book anyway. And she thumbed through it, and she's like, oh, he'd really love it. And I was like, yeah, he probably would, and so and then she started walking away, and I was like, take this. And I gave her the $5 version of the same book. It's just the first half of it. And I said, here, and if you like it, where I'm at. She bought 3 more books for me that weekend, right? She bought one for her husband, she bought one for herself, and she bought another one for another one for their kid. So, there's definitely that's a unicorn opportunity, but it always helps having something you can give away that has a value to it. And the one thing I don't like to say is free. And here's why. And maybe it's my days in IT and stuff like that. But if something's free, that's the same value of the item. But if it's at no charge, or hey, it's on me, you're not saying it's free. It's you're giving it a value, and they'll recognize the value, and hopefully they'll thumb through it or flip through it if they're digital or whatever, and see the value and agree that it's worth spending money on this the next time around. So. You can get all the fancy marketing terms you want, but it really comes down to bringing people in by creating value somewhere along the way and giving them a reason, giving them an answer to the question, who gives a shit? Right.
Exactly. JD, do you want to go, sir? Or shall I?
I mean, my thing is pretty much along the lines of what Jay was saying with giving away a free book. And this is advice that I've given before on this show. And it's, one of the things you could do is very inexpensive. I really enjoy and I collect trading cards from independent creators. That is something I really like, right? So I create my own. And what I do is, you go around to your local comic shops, you can get 5,000 trading cards printed up for a couple $100. And on the back of it, you put a QR code, and you can give away a digital book, right? So that people can see the first issue, that sort of thing. And they're also going to get a trading card. I like them better than bookmarks. People do tend to use bookmarks, but they do tend to get sometimes stuffed in a book and forgotten. Trading cards, I put them in a binder, and I do actually look at them every now and again. So I think for me, those are a better value. And people do like them because they're little things, little trading cards, because everybody thinks they're gonna get a Pokemon or something.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
we recently created our own trading cards and our own
Sure did.
booster packs out of out
Right.
of DIY paper. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna be giving these away at our table and then we have a handful of other things and swag and stuff so that we're gonna be giving away and collecting emails that way as well. So
Oh, that's
far
cool.
right now, we have our live appearances down. So
Mhm.
we need to move that to our digital
digitals.
space, our digital capture space.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, on your live thing, and this is something I do, I went and bought, it might have been Staples, but like little 5x7 stanchion card. It's a magnetic flat front. They're plexiglass, right? And then it's got a slightly angled,
Mhm.
and you just drop a sheet of a 5x7 graphic in there. I've done like exclusive covers for the show or mentions for the show, but I always have with me two at minimum. I'm assuming I'm running a campaign, and I always am anymore. One with a QR code for the current campaign and a great visual to go with it, right? And then maybe a logo, almost like a comic book cover, something to draw the attention. And then the second one goes to my store. And while I was at Fredericksburg Comic Con this weekend, I sold 6 books on my website that came from the QR code. So, that's not a lot, but I mean, it's more than I would have gotten had I not had that on my table. So keep always be promoting, right? ABC, always be, converting. Yeah. So something like that on your table, even if somebody goes, let me think about it. Well, hey, while you think about it, scan this. And then even if you don't come back, you can still get, I'll give you the same deal or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. So I will kind of throw my hat in the ring here for the funnel, if you will. So, kind of much like JL, and as I had mentioned before, I have a welcome series. Something that I do, so I start off with the free digital. I give them the issue 1 of Nightwolf, and then I think I also give them the 9-page preview of Snowpaw 1. I think I'm gonna eventually update that because I have the whole thing now. But yeah, so that's the start, and then it kind of brings them into my world. I talk about during the welcome series, I start talking about my world building, my mythology. I introduce myself. I talk about how I got into comic books, how my dyslexia was something that got me into, my mom helping me learn to read with comic books. That's something I talk about. It's my origin story, why I'm, obsessed with werewolf books, and why, and then I go into character development, talking about, I do it, who's Nightwolf, who's Snowpaw, who's this villain, so on and so forth. So each email is kind of introducing these people into my world, who these characters are, why they should care about them, why I care about them. To kind of give them that back matter that not a lot of people get. And Travis, you're killing me. And then so there we go. That kind of stuff, it helps, that helps the why, right? Giving them the reasons, giving them something interesting. I'm not pushing anything at this point. The only thing I'm doing at the end, I have a single, button that says follow me on Facebook. The next one, follow me on Instagram. The next one, follow me on Twitter, I guess, X, whatever it's now. Those are just kind of getting them used to that one thing, that one action, clicking that button. And then when we get to a Kickstarter, there's that one call to action at the bottom of the email. Hey, I'm running a Kickstarter now. Join the hunt. That's kind of you don't want to push, sell, push, sell. As we've all been saying, you want to make your email worthwhile during these things, right? So that's kind of you want to sell yourself. You want to sell your book, but you have to sell it in a manner that that you weren't passionate about, that you care about, why you're doing it. You want to sell the why, not then later on, that's when they come and buy the book. Those are the things that you kind of want to do. You want to nurture, not push away. You don't want to just be sell, because that nobody cares about those. They leave those lists in a minute, you know. But like I said, that's my welcome series. You know, there's 9 of them, and then that's when I get into the newsletter. That's when I'm, you know, every other week sending out something saying, hey, here's the latest art by Mog. Here's the latest art by Carlos. You know, you're the first ones getting that sneak peek of this cover by Chris Williams. You know, stuff like that. You know, sharing the things like that's kind of like when you move them to the Substack or whatever, you know, you're doing with it. But, you know, as far as also like from pushing that digitally, again, you could be, you know, if you have a vanity URL that goes, if you're, you know, like your, you know, landing page dot whatever.com takes them to your landing page where it gives them an introduction to the story. Give them that reason to say, hey, I want that free book. Or I guess as Charlie would say, that book on me.
It's on the house, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have a book on the house. Here you go. You know, sign up. That kind of stuff. You know, you want to have a landing page. So oftentimes, so like MailChimp has a landing page that I use that I direct from my website or from social to sign up for, and then they get redirected back to my regular website. So that's kind of like when I was saying how, like, yeah, you have a website and you want to keep people there.
Yeah.
But
You can use you can use the 301 redirect and all that fun stuff that you do. Yeah.
So,
So
exactly.
I've had to do all that stuff with the podcast networks and because you have to do all that stuff with the RSS feeds and 301 redirects and all these fun different things. So I had to learn all about that stuff long ago. So yeah, I those are the things and that's part of why we're doing this, because a lot of the same stuff that we're talking about, this kind of funneled stuff, we did the same thing with the podcast network, but just with podcasts and ads and advertising that would go to on those different podcasts.
Yeah, it's the same idea, different audience. And that's another thing I do want to bring up because Charlie, but both Charlie's, Jay, like everybody's kind of touched on this a little bit. You don't want to do one of those, like, I know if you want to build it fast, okay, one of those viral giveaways.
Nope.
Those are nothing but going to basically lower your open rate. They don't work. Yeah, they give you a bunch of people who don't care.
Yeah.
You want to put on the people who want to be there. You want to keep them there and you want to nurture them. You don't want, and to kind of go against what JayDee Rosario was saying, though, you don't want to put all of the books there if you want to build an audience for a specific book, because it's not going to cross over 100%. Hell, you might not even be able to cross over 10%. You want to curate a list segmented out for each book.
Yeah. And I do notice, like, every once in a while, like our friend JL does amazing with it. He keeps up on it, and every once in a while, every like so often, it'll a handful of months will go by, and then they'll change, you know, which opportunity people will get for free, right? And it's usually a newer book or something like that. So it's these are some of those things that JL's one of the people that I really pick his brain, because he's like a wealth of knowledge sometimes, and so that's a lot of this stuff is where we're kind of moving towards what we're doing with all of our stuff, and kind of knowing the world a little bit with the podcast things. We're kind of implementing a lot of these things that we talked about.
Yeah. But as Charlie Stickney was saying, you know, make sure you're building yourself up and collecting content, because to have that long-term welcome series like I do, I had all that stuff built out before I put that.
Yeah, we need loyal people who are going to be there for what we want.
Well, right, but you also need to build the content as you go. Like, if you don't have enough content to supplement that, then you're basically gonna set up this funnel with nothing that people want to see.
Yep.
You see my point?
Yeah, we do have other things. We have that this is just my first book that I'm doing myself. We have an anthology magazine, and then we also have the trading card stuff that we're doing, and we're also implementing other things that we're going to be doing as well very soon. So that's why we're really upticking what our output on these different things right now. So that's why we're really trying to build this up so that we can build out the momentum at the same time that we're putting this output out. So
it's good that you're thinking about that as you're doing it. All right.
Cool.
Did that help?
Yeah, definitely.
JD, do you have or anything to add or anything?
No, I gave him my trading card spiel.
Not fair. But yeah, you love that trading card spiel.
I do it. You know, it's worked for me. So yeah.
Okay. Charlie Stickney, I know you didn't necessarily had a issue per se, but you had a topic of conversation that you would like to discuss.
Yeah, I think when you look at how Kickstarter has evolved over the last, say, 7 years, 8 years, when I first started doing things on Kickstarter, the majority of the creators were people doing one-offs. They would do an anthology, which would have a lot of creators, or it would be a big graphic novel. There weren't a lot of people who were serializing. There weren't a lot of people who were trying to do 5 to 10 to 30 launches a year. And I've seen, like there's kind of been that evolution to you look at this group, and most people who are doing things here are not doing it for a specific book. It's for a line. It's for a publishing company. And I'm kind of just sort of, there's also been a lot of talk about how Kickstarter is not having the same impact as it did a couple of years ago. And I'm just wondering, in general, if there's a little bit of this shift in terms of the usage of the platform that's affecting the production, the return on the platform. And in the sense that when I was first starting out, the most important thing was to make every single individual launch feel like an event, to give people a reason to come out. But if you're on Kickstarter every month or every other month, there's just less incentive for people to have to back every campaign because they can always catch up down the line. And I just wonder, what that magic number is. Is there a magic number? Are some of us doing too many launches? Or, is there a saturation that's kind of starting to build for Kickstarter in terms of, I used to never think there was a saturation, because like in a comic book shop, the example was like, it was an endless scroll, and every new creator who comes in is bringing new backers with them. So it's a constantly expanding user base. But when you're a creator doing 10 launches in a year, you're not really bringing in new people as much as you're using the people that are there. And so you're eating up some of the dollars. So I'm not, not criticizing any of that, because like a lot of people do it well, a lot of people don't do it well. I'm just sort of throwing it out as a topic of conversation. Is the serialized launching, is the launching 8 to 15 times a year, is that having a depressing impact on the overall performance of Kickstarter campaigns?
Okay.
That's fair.
I think you just kind of punched JD in the face.
No, that's fine. I appreciate that, because we're going to be here for another 4 hours. Damn it.
Again, it's a topic for conversation. It's not something I'm sold on one way or another. I'm just thinking about it.
Well, should we treat it as conversation, or do we want to do a Q&A kind of thing with this?
I think we should treat it as a conversation.
Okay.
Because I think because it's a conversation. Because the thing is my opinion is going to be different than your opinion, and Jay's opinion, and the Charlie's opinions, and Joe. We're all going to have different opinion. The Charlies, right? we're all going to have different opinions, right? Right. We're the JDs, exactly. So, but I know for myself, right? I produce. Okay, so my position in this is a little different than a lot of other people, right? I've been producing books for a long time, and the thing is I just have a big backlog of books, so that's why I produce so many campaigns, right? And I run a campaign, I fulfill the campaign, I run the next campaign, and my books are done. It's not like they're almost done. They're done. You know what I mean? They're finished. And, with something like the Oswald Chronicles, which is, my main thing, is like, I don't know, 44 different stories comprising the entire story, right? Not all, some of them being one shots, some of them being 200-page stories, right? So there's a lot of material there. I'm pretty sure I'm 3,000 pages in. So, and I probably have another 1,500 to go. So my goal is to get this done before I retire, right? And the thing is I had an initial goal to get it, to finish writing it by the time I was 55. I achieved that goal, right? So now the next goal is to get all of this work done before I retire, right? And I have 7 years roughly, so for me, my pressures are different. I want to get it done because it's just a goal, right? And here's the other thing for me, it's my hobby, right? It's, there are two things that make me happy in life: my wife and my hobby. And my biggest hobby is the Oswald Chronicles and comic books in general. So it's like, so I'm going to, for me, it's like, I can't produce enough.
Can I just make a quick point of clarification? Because I think what you're talking about is slightly different. Because I think you as a creator doing a series that you're doing the next issue of, is different than, say, having a line of books as a publisher. Right.
Fair.
Where you're putting this out and you're putting this out and you're doing this launch and I've got this book. And look, I mean, I have 4 different series that I'm doing right now. So I'm not casting any stones. It's just, again, the point of conversation. But I think what you're doing is both admirable, and it's also, it works for your base because they just want the next issue. Right. Yeah. And I don't think that's killing your audience, and I don't think it's affecting anyone else's. I'm just wondering, am I putting out too many books? Like just as a publisher, because it's different being a publisher and a creator. And I think, a lot of us are starting to work more as publishers than creators. What
do you mean, you specifically are putting out too many, or just the royal you?
I'll say this. At the beginning of this year, I was looking at the landscape of Kickstarter, and I was thinking, do I need to start cranking out and having 10 to 12 campaigns a year, right? And like, will that work with what I do? Is that better overall for my branding? Because there's so much stuff coming out. Are people going to forget me if I'm only on Kickstarter 5 to 6 times a year? What do I need to do to cut through that noise? Like, is it better, for me to have 10 campaigns that only have 900 backers versus 5 campaigns that have 1,100 backers? What's that math? And so I'm trying to figure that out for myself. And I've come to the internal realization that I'm not going to be doing 10 to 12. Like I just physically can't handle that, because I also still do all my own fulfillment, and the numbers that I'm putting out, it's big books, so like it's going to be 600 plus packages for every single campaign. So I can't, physically do that.
Well, I was going to say too, sometimes you have to wait on your artists as well. Like, I know you are in the same boat as me. Like, we're kind of beholden to our artists.
Yeah. So I'm not being critical of any of this. I'm just sort of thinking, as a platform, is it built to sustain publishers pumping out stuff versus creators doing individual books / series? You know what I mean? Like there's a difference in usage, and the event aspect is kind of disappearing, and it's more, this is just a shop that you go to get your books, but it's a more expensive shop. And yes, it's, direct from the creators, but that's a little bit less and less if a creator is now a publisher, right? So I don't know. I'm just like thinking. I've been thinking about this.
Question then: are you worried that the bubble is going to burst, the way like the '90s bubble burst in the direct market? Is that a concern? I mean,
well,
there's those people who are going to abuse the system regardless.
I do think that you go back to COVID, right? And so the COVID bubble did burst. Yeah. Right? A lot of us were doing 30 to 40% higher for like 2 years than we might be doing right now. Now, I feel like I've plateaued at a really good place for me that's still profitable. And like 3 out of my last 4 campaigns have had a dollar amount within like, I don't know, $500 of each other, and very similar backers. So it's like, oh, my books are hitting this, and that's good. Boom, boom, boom. And the one that I've got going right now is tracking to kind of be there again. So I'm feeling good about that, but I wonder if I do too many more, is that going to affect that? In general, could we be heading for a burst? Because there's a whole generation of younger creators who are coming in who see Kickstarter as a place to be independent publishers, and they want to do as many campaigns as possible versus trying to build a brand, trying to build a thing. And so like I think like that balance might be a little out of whack, but I don't know.
Yeah, if you'd asked this question or posited this conversation 4 or 5 months ago, I'd have been like, no, you got to be on the platform like nonstop, right? And I think I would have agreed with that mentality. And I saw the same thing you did. In fact, Chris Moses and I had a conversation about, if you're not on the platform, they're forgetting you. Like they're moving on to the next. Their money's going somewhere else. So you got to be on platform, and instead of sitting around complaining why your campaign's not funding. Today, I have actually kind of been in the same boat as you have. Is like my campaigns are successful. They always get the fun project we love stuff. That's great. Fairly consistent. I'm in the 150 to 180% funding on every campaign. And maybe the dollar amounts are a little different, but the percentages are about the same. And I'm getting, like I said earlier, it's still a decent swath of new backers, but it's not as voluminous as it was before, right? I was getting 112 backers in my first few campaigns, every single campaign, and it was like, holy smokes. But I plateaued, and that didn't take very long, and now it's kind of fizzling out. I don't have an answer, honestly. I'm kind of talking myself through it together, like you are, because I'm on. I have 2 accounts, and it's legit. And they're both publishing different types of books. The traditional superhero stuff still does well as long as it's tied to my flagship title. I notice. So if it's tied to Spider Squirrel and Trash Panda, it'll do right. It'll do well. It'll fund usually first 48 hours, something like that, pretty successfully. But if I put something new out there in that same genre, but it's not directly attached to the universe that I've created, then I have seen it where it's a trickle. I'm still funding in the first week, but it's for me and you how this is. Charlie's like, God, I didn't fund the first day. Like, it's driving you mad, and you're trying, what's wrong? I don't know that I have an answer for that, but is it just that it's not tied to Spider Squirrel? I don't even know that that's the answer either. That's anecdotal. I don't have enough data because I don't have enough books.
So do you guys think people are jaded because it's Kickstarter and that's just what it is now?
No, I don't think it's jaded. I think it's just that there are a lot of things out. I mean, when I launched the Yakuza 4, there were almost 600 comic book campaigns running already. When I launched Spider Squirrel 3, which is the 3rd issue, or the final issue, the first volume, the largest number I saw running concurrently was under 300. So that's a huge gap, and it's only been a few years. So that's a lot. I think so. One is visibility is difficult. 2, I do think that there's just not enough money going around, right? The economy, from a macro perspective, has absolutely damaged all comics to some extent. Now, I know comic stores are reporting like record years last year, and they're doing well this year, but almost all of that, if you look at the numbers, it's the accessories. It's toys, cards, it's CGC graded books.
The ones who adapted, yeah.
Yeah, right. My store does exceptionally well. I mean, but this week, every post they've had has been about Transformers toys, a new run of Turtles toys they got from a collection.
The Super number 7s and all those.
Yeah.
Like basically they're hitting the nostalgic toy lines.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think people are jaded. I think that there's more projects, and there's not a balanced amount of income to support all of that simultaneously. So it sounds like I'm saying there's a bubble, and maybe I am, but I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's definitely oversaturation versus economy. I mean, that's
Well, I think I think one of the all right, because Charlie said something interesting. So you said a few years ago you were seeing up to 600 campaigns running at at any given moment, right?
No, I was saying now we're seeing
Yeah,
600.
now versus 2 years.
It's twice what it was just a couple of years ago.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm checking fairly. I'm on there every day, pretty much. When I'm on my lunch break, I'm looking at Kickstarter. So usually I see about
Thing
On
out.
his
200.
lunch break. Yeah.
JD's like, you lunch break, you son of a.
I'm sorry, dude. Like, there are laws, in the state that say you're supposed to get a lunch plate. There
Yeah,
are
I
laws.
think that kind of goes back to what Charlie put back to how Charlie posed the question, right? Well, we're seeing all these 600. You said 600 campaigns right now. It feels like because they're following the trend that everybody kind of created, right? Everybody tells you launch in June, July because that's when everybody's gonna be buying, right? So everybody launches in June and July and August and all that stuff. So I mean, partly true, but I definitely see the breadcrumbs that Charlie laid down for us.
Yeah, and I just checked just now. Like right now, it's actually at a low of 272, which is probably the lowest I've seen it in a while.
Right. But, I mean, that's what I've been seeing on a regular for the last couple months.
I think October, leading up to October, it gets really, really, really
right. Yeah, it
robust.
starts to get a little crazy.
Do you guys think that bigger companies should be campaigning on Kickstarter so they can expand the user base?
Well, big companies are. I don't think it's the size of the company. I think it's more the number of campaigns that are concurrently happening, and not every person who is running a campaign a month knows how to handle that from a publishing perspective. So I think even like some of the overall quality of books has started to go down because it's really hard to crank out good books every month. Yeah. Unless you're JD, right?
I'm trying.
I think that doing that monthly book, unless you have your publishing hat on and you're like working with good writers and you're hiring good artists, and then you're just becoming a publisher, right? And versus being a creator. So I don't know. I mean, I would what you're saying about Chris saying, if you're not on Kickstarter, everyone's going to forget you. I would just say that if you make a great book, I think people are thinking about the next issue of your book, yes. Right? And I think there's almost too much of, I got to get the next thing out. I've got to get the next thing out. I just want like more and more and more versus building the brand so people actually remember your books. Because I do feel like also a lot of it's starting to blur together. If you look at a lot of the cover images, it's the same 20 artists doing most of the covers. And, they're making money. So I'm not going to sort of disparage that, but it's not unique. And I think it's better for the platform when you have more unique things out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but there's also, because this is such a layered.
I don't know, man. They're pretty badass. I don't know.
Right. But there's a really layered conversation because we have a lot of people doing NSFW types covers, some of them doing good girl covers, right? And then how do you separate those campaigns from something like what I'm doing, from something like what you're doing, Charlie, and both Charlies, right? And then at what point do we feel, okay, do we need to incorporate this with what we do? Obviously, I can't incorporate it with my mouse book. It just doesn't make any sense, right? But it is what it is.
I don't know, furries, man.
No, just no. But
Daphne's back there going, yes.
That's a whole different thing. But yeah, I think because we see, it's tough because how do we regulate that, right? Because you have bad actors that put out a bunch of campaigns and take forever to fulfill or don't fulfill at all, right? Then you have other people who are in there who maybe not ready for prime time, right? Who haven't focused enough on their craft to really be on the platform, but yet they feel they see a lot of other people, so they feel the need to because they want to join in, right? And I get it, and do we really want to discourage that, right? Because someone who may not be very good at it now, 5 years from now, might be the next Frank Miller. We don't know, right? So we don't know, and that's why, there was a period of time a few years ago where I was like very negative Nancy. I was like, you know what? If you want to give up, please do, right? And I was like that for a little bit. I was just like, just please, just drop off. Nobody needs you. Nobody wants you. Nobody cares about your book. You understand? But I was like that for a little while. Now I'm like, look, like, learn and develop your craft as much as you can. Study, learn, put out your best foot forward. And here's the thing. Look at other indie creators. Look at the stuff you admired growing up and ask yourself, am I putting out a book that I feel would honor the person that brought me up, right? That I could lay my book next to theirs and be like, listen, man, or if you were presenting it to that person, that you could present it to them and be proud of it, right? And not be completely either disingenuous or totally out of your mind when you do it. It's one of those things where, but it takes a lot of navel gazing, and not a lot of people ready for that, right?
FYI, if you heard that ding, that was my wife saying, "Wrap it up."
You're getting one of those too, right?
Yeah. my kid just popped in the shower here, So.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we don't normally run it this long, but we got.
Feel free to continue. Honestly, I can drop off if you guys want to keep going. That's totally cool.
I was ready to run back into the kitchen.
I'm East Coast like you guys, so yeah, it's late.
There you go.
But I will say, just like to comment on something, is I think also, and we just did it here, but it's okay because context matters. Is also, don't be myopic in your vision of what your audience is either. Like, your audience isn't just on Kickstarter. Rob is lean.
I'm not lame. I'm just wise. Happy wife, happy life.
Wants to wake up in the morning.
But if you only sell your books on Kickstarter, then you're gonna struggle, right?
Damn right.
And we already talked about cons, but I'm also like, I just signed this agreement with Philbo Distribution, and we'll see how this goes. It's in its nascency. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I have the margins to do it. I have the UPCs. I've got everything I need to be in a distribution channel. Now, just for the record, so everybody understands my perspective on distribution, I love local comic shops. I prefer to sell to them directly so I can minimize the margin loss, but I also look at distribution as it's a great vehicle for getting your name out there, getting your product out in front of people, building your brand further than just what you can do alone in social media. So I'm not saying take a loss and get into distribution and, oh my God, I lose $1 a book. If you do that, you're stupid.
Yes.
Fix your margins first, find your production levels where you can attain them, and then get your books priced in a reasonable range around or close to mainstream books, or mainstream indie books at least, and get yourself out there if you can. I have 4 stores that buy from me directly, and it started with just reaching out to them or doing a signing or being in the area and stopping and shopping, then talking to the owners and stuff. I travel for work. I go to, I'll go to Massachusetts, or I'll go somewhere in New York and stuff like that. And if I get a chance, I'll talk to some of these dealers and say, hey, would you be interested? And then I actually have a wholesale back end on my Shopify page. So, that I set up, and it's a pain in the ass to set up without paying Shopify more money. So don't ask, just go figure it out. The point is that I started at a grassroots.
We can go 2 hours without effing Shopify,
dude. But I started with a grassroots effort, and my reach is now beyond what I could normally do. I'm hitting people that I could not touch on my own, or did not at least, and now they're following me on different channels and stuff like that. So don't forget that Kickstarter is, if you go back to what Kickstarter was meant to be for, and is to get a project off the ground, and stop thinking of it, or maybe not stop thinking of it, but don't think of it only as, how do I sell my book? Then that also changes a number of things. How you market it, it changes the price values you set at above your production costs or below. Some people put their books under their production costs, and that's fine too. You do you, Saffron. But sorry, that was a quote from Annie, but I have kids. So anyway, all that to say is don't get wrapped around the axle on what we're doing on Kickstarter either, because Kickstarter may come or go. I mean, and if you're relying on a Kickstarter to be your methodology and that's the only platform you're on, I'm on 4 different digital platforms. Like, don't limit yourself. Your book deserves, that's the way you should think of it. Your book deserves multiple streams of visibility and you deserve multiple streams of income. Make that shit happen.
Yeah, I remember when TikTok went down and everybody's like, well, how am I going to make my money?
All right.
Go twerk on Instagram, buddy.
Yeah.
You guys twerk too?
Wow.
I mean, Rob does in a full moon.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Naked.
Yeah, Charlie, I just wish we had another 4 hours.
Guys, I gotta bounce.
Have a good one, Rob.
Rob, do that. I'm gonna bring up everybody's campaigns. We'll show them off real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, guys.
Good night, guys.
Take care, Rob.
Good night, Rob.
Good seeing you again, buddy.
You too.
All right.
So before we go, though, we just need to decide how we as a group want to pronounce his last name. Right?
I mean, do we want to bastardize it all to heck? I mean,
what did he say was Multari?
It's Multari.
Multari or Multari?
I don't know.
Multari?
Multari.
Multari.
All right.
I thought it was this.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Jay, come on.
All right, Shield of the Interceptor is based about the guy who found the shield that was supposed to be paired with the sword Excalibur and all of those who are coming for his head. It's going to be launching this Friday at 8 p.m. and covers by Larry Toussaint. We have a reward for returning backers. Doesn't matter which book you've backed from me before. It could be anyone. Doesn't have to be from the Shield of the Interceptor line. You automatically get a free holochrome trading card, a holochrome trading card on me added to your reward. And then we also have another holochrome trading card for the early bird backers, little homage to the classic Wizard comic book magazine. So we got that in there. And these are both holochrome trading cards valued at $5 each. So if you're not a returning backer or if you don't get the early bird, you can still purchase them as an add-on or extras if you like. But the first reward is for 10 bones, and that includes the shipping. So you get a great value if you're a returning backer, and you get us within those first 48 hours.
All right, there you go. Nice job.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Charlie, here we go.
We were both waiting to see which one. Right?
Well, I'm going in order as you showed up for the show.
So Bam Pow, here we go. So we're at American Yakuza. Our mature audience is Fish Out of Water story. It's a Japanese murder. It's a murder mystery set in Japan, rather. A fun story, co-created with Chris Moses and Anthony Stokes of Red Sea and Fire Ant Productions. Beautiful book, well done by our Italian sensation Damiano Restivo, colored by John Rock from DC Comics, Invincible fame. He did 30 some odd issues of Invincible's colors. Look at that. Recognize that art there, Charlie? Connor Hughes did a cover for us. It was great working with Connor for the first time right before he picked up that Transformers gig. So nice. Great. I know. I got him right in the nick of time. We got a few naughty covers here. This is a sweet version. We got a naughty cover, a couple of naughty covers too, if you want to enjoy that. They are beautiful. They do really well. And the book is a fantastic, fun tale. This is our penultimate issue, so we only have one more left. And those coins, dude, go back to that coin. So these coins are one of my hottest add-ons. Every campaign, they are fantastic. And at every con I sell, like this weekend I had a one-day con, and I sold more of these than I did of the number one issue, which is crazy. So really fun add-ons, and we'll eventually do a campaign just for coins. We'll add a few more to them to kind of round out the family, so to speak. So look for that coming later, maybe this year. We'll see. After our conversation today, Charlie, maybe not, maybe next year. Anyway, it's been a hugely successful first launch. This is our first mature audiences title that we've ever produced, and it has consistently done very, very well for us. Probably because it's a really good story, and I can say that because I'm not the only writer. I read this a little bit as a fan too, and it's extremely entertaining. So back it.
Very nice.
There you go. Very good.
I think I need to go get one of those coins, man. Yeah, I love those.
Dude, they're
dude.
dope.
I got a bunch of them already.
Yeah. Well, we had 5. Well, we got 4 now. 5. The 5th one's coming.
All right, Joey, what are we looking at?
This is my book. This is I Need Your Skin. This is a supernatural horror. This is created by me. It is written by my friend Alan Dunford, who has done Grandma Chainsaw and Pocus Hocus, Horrors in Hell. He's got one coming up that's called Beneath the Lighthouse. We actually printed the part of Beneath the Lighthouse in one of our anthology magazines. But this one follows Nora Perkins, who has a fear of aging, and she believes a clairvoyant can help her, but a deal will be made for a small piece of her flesh. Think A24 style kind of storytelling here. This is done by the talented Brian Bellondo. We have covers from Brian Bellondo. We have covers from Ruin Mocho and Kit Wallace, and then our friend who's done some covers with Charlie McElvy, we have Benjamin W. Morse doing a cover as well.
Nice. Yeah, looks really good, man. I mean,
Yeah, man.
you know.
And then we're getting close to unlocking a glow in the dark Kit Wallace cover. So as soon as we unlock that one, we're going to open up some new tiers.
All right, cool. I'll ask you a quick question. Is this a one-shot mini series? What are we looking at?
This is going to be one of 3 issues here. This is book 1.
Okay. All right, cool. Looks fantastic, man. I mean, go buy a copy.
We have a lot more planned, but for right now, we're gonna market these 3.
Gotcha. Like I said, we're just trying to like I said, Joey, if you want to come on my Sunday show at some point, let me know, and I can bring you on. We go through them a little bit more thoroughly on that one.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. There we go. Charlie, Mr. Stickney.
All right, so this is the White Ash Annual. If you don't know White Ash, it's urban fantasy set in coal mining country. A little bit of Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Rings in rural Pennsylvania. Or imagine if the guys from Supernatural got stuck in Riverdale, but rather than battling demons from hell, they had to deal with the worst of Mordor. This is a perfect jumping on point if you're new to our world, because it's a 52-page book with 4 self-contained stories to give you an introduction to some of the different characters in the book. That said, even though these stories are all standalone, they're also canon, and they do sort of help flesh out the past of some of the different characters, and it's all part of one gigantic narrative. So we got 4 different stories, some really great covers. It's a huge team, so if you like what you see there, just go and flip through. I couldn't put the number of names on the cover because there are just too many people who are involved in this, but just off the top of my head, Amy Chase, Tango, Jason Moore, Steve Cannon, Finn Cram, Mick Bayers, a lot. I'm really thrilled with how this turned out. I didn't write all the stories in this, so again, I can also say they're incredibly well written. Except for maybe one, which I wrote. You can judge for yourself, but there's some fantastic artists on it, and really just proud. And this book is also finished, so there will be no delays on shipping. We will be shipping this out at the end of next month.
Nice.
All right, very nice. Very nice.
Oh, and just last thing, the early bird specials end tomorrow morning. So tonight's a great time to pick it up if you want to save a little money.
There we go.
There you go. Awesome.
And
So-
thanks for having us on.
No, listen, anytime. Now, one question. I know this is a long-standing series. Do you have an ending for the series? I'm just curious.
I do, but it's way down the road.
Way down
Like if you were to think of this as a TV show
Mhm.
and like a 5-season arc, we are still about 2/3 of the way through the first season.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we will get the Barnack definitely before the series ends.
Yes.
Okay.
For anyone who's waiting for the bar napkin, that's going to be going out with Galarian 4.
I'm sorry to bust you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I'll put this up real quick. This is my next campaign. It's in pre-launch. This is the Oswald Chronicles, issues 1 through 4. What my eyes see, I cannot tell. This is where Oswald, Jesus Christ, everybody, no. This is where Oswald has he's ruling an empire in dream, and he is telling the story of when he first fell in love with his wife, and the troubles that he had to go through fighting off the church that these people were once worshiping, and how he's fighting against that church. So, yeah.
Wait,
and
this is issue 4. This is a collection.
This is issues 1 through 4. This will be issues 1 through 4. It's a limited series illustrated by Jade Gonzalez, and I have an alternative cover by Jose Garcia. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This will probably be coming in another 3 weeks or so. And that's that for that. All right.
One more thing. I got one more thing in there. All
right. Jay, I'm gonna pull it up. You got like 2 seconds.
All right, we got 2 seconds.
Go.
We're going to be launching the action figures in the end of September. So get ready. We got 6 available at launch, and there are 3 more that can be, well, maybe 4, that can be unlocked with stretch goals. I hope to get this funded before the wife kicks me out of the house.
All right, cool.
Those look great.
Thank you.
They do really look. Yeah, they look awesome.
They were jamming. I love them.
All right,
I love them.
gentlemen, we went way over, but here we are. So way over. Rob had to go. You know, chump. Anyway, so let's start with Joey. Joey, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me anywhere at Joey Galvez 1984, and just find me on Kickstarter at Geek Collective or geekcollective.net.
All right, cool. Charlie Stickney, where can we find you?
You can find me, Charlie Stickney, at Blue Sky and on Twitter, White Ash Comics on Facebook and on Instagram.
All right, cool. Charlie M, where can we find you?
You can find me right here at Charlie McElvy at all of the socials except for Instagram because they went stupid. So put a dot between my name for Instagram. You can also find me all over Kickstarter. The current campaign is also listed right down there at American-Yakuza.com. It'll take you right to the Kickstarter page, no matter which campaign's running for Yakuza. So yeah, go back the book. You got until Friday, and we're already funded. So we're in stretch goals. You can help us unlock some more.
All right, cool. Jay, where can we find you and your work?
UnstableComics.com. You can find all my social media links on the website and also whatever else we are promoting at that time. Then on Friday nights, you can catch me on YouTube, Comic Book Streamland, 8 p.m. Eastern. You guys are welcome to jump on if you want to, chew the fat. And then Sunday nights with this guy over here, trying to bring some light into this world.
I don't know if we bring any light, but we're doing something. But you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different places. The OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com. Very soon, back on with Oswald, back on Kickstarter. Thank you so much, everybody, and please, everyone, please check out the show notes because in those notes you will find everybody's links. Please click on those links, pick up these books. These are awesome books being made by incredible creators. All of these guys are putting in their blood, sweat, and tears in these books. So please back these campaigns. They really do deserve it. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. And just remember, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Later.